This is Mr. Lobo, and I am here at the headquarters of
Tabloid Weekly Magazine.
Tabloid Weekly Magazine, which is, my mom read those like years ago, like in the 50s. Used to have a lot of like kind of pulp stories. Doris Danger, of course,
Sure,
was
yeah,
reoccurring.
a staple.
Staple. A lot of our boys overseas.
Oh yeah,
Read the
it was
magazines?
probably the hottest.
Cool.
It was probably the hottest nonfiction tabloid title at the time. So,
And you know, there was in those days, and I think, you know, maybe just the natural resources of the world in general have been kind of dried up. But in the 50s, there were a lot more monsters
well,
than there are today.
I think the government just did such a good job suppressing it. I don't think it's so much a matter of numbers.
Really, really. So we would say that there's maybe as many monsters today as we had back in the 50s, but we're not getting the truth. It's not always getting out.
I think the truth is that Doris Danger allowed us to see that part of life, really, that we don't see anymore.
Well, it's too bad we don't have a photojournalist today like Doris Danger who could put themselves at risk and capture these creatures like Pwa Pwa Pwa, right?
Yes, yes.
Or
Sna.
Sna, right, right. Or Cock.
Plop Sploo.
Plop Sploo.
Yeah. You remember her son-in-law, Dirk Danger, tried to take over the role for a while in the 70s, but he just didn't have the star power that she had.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, he kept tripping over his bell bottoms, and you know, he had some problems.
So true.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of people in the 70s had substance abuse problems. You know, that was a much different world, and we had a lot less faith in our journalists and stuff in the 70s too. There was a lot of malaise.
That's true. That's true. That probably had a detrimental impact.
Right.
On the attempts to get the existence of giant monsters known.
You have some books here that you're involved with. Obviously, you're too young for a lot of the material.
It's all reprints to me, yes, yes. But I've scoured what we can find in the vaults. Even though the book was one of the hottest tabloid nonfiction titles of that period, people didn't look at nonfiction comics the way they do now, you know, with reverence like they do now. And they would read them and they would throw them in the garbage.
A lot of people's moms threw them away and stuff.
Yeah, it was lining for hobo jackets. You know, it was sent to the overseas wars, wound up in rivers.
They used to stuff couches and stuff with ripped up magazines.
Exactly. And in fact, an almost complete story was just found in a couch in Malaysia.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And these were probably newsprint, right? In the original run.
Right.
Run like on a web press or something, and then
Yes.
on newsstands, bus stations, things
Yes,
like that.
they sold in the millions back then. Comics don't sell like that anymore.
Well, yeah. Now you go into specialized comic book store. It's really like more of a countercultural affectation than a kind of daily staple like it was in those days.
Right. Right. Now it's just a little fun something. It's not an integral part of people's lives anymore.
People got a lot of solid information from
Oh,
from
absolutely,
the comics.
absolutely.
People were brave enough to approach things in comics that
So true.
can't be approached normally, like monsters.
Like Pugu.
Right, Pugu. I mean, you say Pugu and people want to laugh. You know.
I don't know why.
I don't know why. See, it's our own insecurity.
Chupi Poo.
I mean,
he was a
yeah,
ferociously.
You want to show us some pictures of some of these things? Are they readily
Let's see
referenced?
what we can find in here. Here's the aforementioned Cock.
Yes, yes. There he is. Yeah.
I should have warned that our younger viewers might want to avert their eyes due to the scariness of these images.
It's fairly graphic.
Let's see. Who else can I find in here? Here's Spoosh.
Wow, he's a grim character. Now,
There's
any of these characters, are they, have they ever been captured? I mean, you see a lot.
It's hard to say because U.S. Army G Division kept very tight-lipped about everything that happened at that time. We suspect they were captured, but we never found out for sure. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there's the possibility that they may not have been aliens, they may not have been giant creatures from Earth, they may have been robots built by the government to try and get America's fears
Right,
going.
right, or perhaps to boost the defense budget.
Absolutely.
If there are giant
Absolutely.
monsters, then we
Yes.
need more tanks. We need more
Absolutely.
men. So yeah, so it's very possible that a lot of these were some sort of like disinformation to some degree, where it's created by the government for a specific
It's
purpose.
a strong possibility.
But all we know is what we have compiled in these books. Now, these you've got several different ones. Some we don't have here.
I've been self-publishing Tabloia Weekly Magazine for a few years now, and Doris Danger was just picked up by Slave Labor Graphics. This 96-page compilation is most of what we have available to us now. However, more is becoming available, so we're hoping to have a second volume out soon.
Excellent, excellent. That's really good news. And you know, and to a certain degree, I mean, this is your only reference material. These are like animal file cards for
Safari cards?
Safari cards for monsters. You know, because really
Yes.
every couple of
Yes.
pages, every couple of pages, it's another monster.
Right.
It really is not light on the monsters.
No.
Delivers monsters.
These are giant monsters.
Giant monsters.
These are not light monsters.
Yes, metric tons.
Yes.
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 A lot of publications, they'll tease a monster. Maybe you see 3 or 4 pages of a monster.
They say that the best scary monsters in films are the ones you never see. That's not the case.
Well, and these monsters are terrifying.
You saw them. You
Yeah.
saw them.
Yeah.
They're scary.
They really, really are terrifying. And more terrifying, all of the intrigue surrounding, you know, the monsters.
The real life intrigue, right.
Of where they come from, you know, where they dwell.
Where they dwell, where they creep and stomp.
Where they creep and stomp. Now, there were a lot of other comics that had these kinds of monsters, similar style. The stuff kind of is reminiscent of the same type of work that maybe Jack Kirby.
I was going to say Jack Kirby and Stan Lee and Stan's brother Larry Lieber
Steve
and
Ditko,
inker
maybe.
Dick Ayers, Steve Ditko. They all, I think, were heavily influenced by Doris's real life adventures.
That makes total sense. Yeah, yeah, I can definitely see that influence, and you know, that is something that I think people who read Marvel Comics, where monsters dwell, might see a connection of. Yeah, this is where this came from.
I was going to say too that you know, movies like Godzilla,
Right.
you know, the directors and writers have mentioned what a big inspiration Doris Danger was to them.
Now, if Doris Danger were alive today, she'd probably be like in her 60s or 70s? Or?
Yes, and she is alive today. Yeah, she has a MySpace page.
Oh, good. Did she do any interviews, do you know?
She hasn't for a while, but I think she would be open to it.
Because it would be great to interview her.
You're right. You're right.
You know, and
Yeah.
because you know, while she's still
The
with
stories she tells.
us, right?
Yeah.
While she's still with us,
Sure. Sure.
and you know, I mean, I'm sure that's a rich oral history that you know, perhaps you know, could make another book.
Absolutely. You're right. Yeah.
Well, Chris Wisnia, thank you very much for telling us about Doris Danger and giant monsters. Before we go, I want your opinion on why do you think monsters are so important in our culture? Do you have a thought on that?
No, I have no thought on that.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you,
so
Chris.
much, Mr. Lobo.
This has been a pleasure.
Me too.
Pick up Doris Danger, Giant Monster Adventures, or Doris Danger, Where Urban Creatures Creep and Stomp, and many other books. Do you have a website?
www.tabloia.com. That's a combination of tabloid and paranoia.
All right. Well, be scared and beware of
Where giant monsters creep and stomp.